Welcome back everybody to more from the Sableyes. I'm back again to talk more Perth Regionals with Jordan Palmer. How's it going, Jordan?
Doing well.
That's good, mate. And we're going to be looking at this deck, which is Zapdos Jirachi with some spicy fighting techs in it, Lycanroc and Buzzwole, which saw some success in the senior division at Perth. Was a finalist and in the top four, and was actually piloted by our South Australian teammate Calvin to quite a successful top four position. So he's been doing quite well this season, and we hope that he can carry on that momentum through until Worlds. And at the moment, he's looking like he might get himself a day 2 invite, Jordan, which is quite good.
Yeah, certainly can't complain of a top 4 finish.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. Just before we get started, if you're interested in the content and you like what you see, then hit the like button, hit subscribe, ring bells, comment, do everything that you need to do to make yourself feel good on YouTube. And yeah, tell us what you think. Tell us what you think about this list. Is it viable going forward? So without any more to do, Jordan, we might jump straight in. We've got ourselves a Zapdos here. We've got 3 Zapdos in this deck. And that's our main attacker. We've got Thunderous Assault, 10 plus, 70 more if it came into the active this turn. It's a pretty good card. I don't think we need to say that much more about it. People are pretty well aware of Zapdos now.
Yeah, it's a fairly standard attacker these days.
Yep. And it's normally paired with this Jirachi, which has Stellar Wish, to help us find some trainers on the top 5 cards of our deck. Again, not really worth talking about too much because almost every deck in Standard is playing it. Even decks that maybe weren't playing it before are playing it now. The only deck that I can think of is that's not playing it is Zoroark, because why would Zoroark play Jirachi? You can just draw all of those cards, so wouldn't worry about it. Some other interesting electric attackers that you would normally see in a Zapdos Jirachi list. We've got Tapu Koko GX, Aero Trail and Sky High Claws, and Tapu Thunder GX is a very good attacker against decks like Pikazek where there's lots of energy on the field. Tapu Thunder GX can normally take a knockout, which is really good news. Plus Sky High Claws can deal with other Zapdos that you might be a little bit concerned about, whilst perhaps taking a hit from them. They need 3 multipliers to kill it. And you can power your Tapu Koko GX up with your Tapu Koko Prism with Dance of the Ancients to put 2 energy on the field, 2 lightning energy I should specify, because in this deck we are playing 2 types. Lightning energy onto the bench to help power your guys up. So some pretty solid electric attackers.
Yeah, the double cup Tapu Koko combination is really just like almost a safety net. It gives you access to a consistent high amount of damage to close out games, or if you ever feel like you missed a turn, you can always just bust out the Tapu Koko and deal a lot of damage out of nowhere.
100%, and one of the cool things that we can do in this deck is with Tapu Koko is actually power up our Lycanroc GX in a turn in order to use its GX attack, Dangerous Rogue, which I would argue is probably a better GX attack, especially when it's coming off a fighting type, when the 2 other big decks in the format are weak to fighting. This is a really, really good option going forward. You can attach your fighting energy, use your Tapu Koko Prism to attach a lightning from discard to this Lycanroc, and then Rogue. It's a pretty solid play.
Yeah, besides the obvious benefit of having Bloodthirsty Eyes, this card gives you much better matchups against both Pikarom and Zoroark, which are 2 of the other biggest decks in the game. If that helps you against those 2 matchups, then it seems worth including to me.
Yep, seems pretty good. That's why we run a 2-2 line. We also have, floating around on the periphery, a little baby Buzzwole, which has Sledgehammer. One of the, obviously this is a card that we've seen in Zapdos Jirachi before, people playing like Ultra Beast versions of this deck. But one of the hard things was always getting the Sledgehammer turn off. They're always going to be on 4 prizes, because we've got 1 prize Pokemon. But hitting the Buzzwole and the energy on the turn that you need it, sometimes was a little bit difficult. In this deck, not so much.
Yeah, thanks to not only the fact that this deck plays basic fighting energy, but due to the fact that it also plays Viridian Forest, make it pretty easy to find the fighting energy you need on the specific turn you need it, and Sledgehammer is a pretty important card to have access to on the turn you need it.
100%. You need that energy, you need the Buzzwole on the turn that it's active, because otherwise it's not particularly useful. One cool thing is, though, obviously 30 damage kills a Zorua, so you know, if you're desperate you can use that. Otherwise, we have one last Pokemon. We've got a little Wobbuffet here with Shady Tail. Its ability to stop Prism Stars from attacking and from using their abilities, and this has a lot. This has a lot of uses in the current format, where we've got Tapu Koko Prism floating around, and we've also got things like Ditto Prism, which we also can't use under Wobbuffet Lock, which is really cool too.
Yeah, I would say that blocking Ditto Prism against Zoroark is probably the most important use that Wobbuffet gets, because against Zoroark decks, their biggest out to winning is getting out Muck, blocking Jirachi, blocking Tapu Koko Prism, stopping you from powering up your Lycanroc in one turn. But if you can use Wobbuffet to stop their Ditto, and then KO their Grimer, you're kind of showing off all their outs to getting Muck out. And if they don't have Muck out, this matchup is a lot more winnable.
Yeah, 100%. When you can control their access to Muck, it means that you've got a lot of a much better chance of being able to get a win, which is fantastic. That rounds out our Pokemon. We'll move into the supporters now, and it's a pretty decent line of supporters. We've got 4 copies of Lily to draw in the early game. 2 copies of Cynthia, which is a little low, but instead of having the full 4, we're going to use 2 copies of Volkner as well. Sometimes this deck only needs an energy and an item to get going, so Volkner is perfect for that. We also have 4 copies of Guzma. This deck really likes switch outs, Jordan, so 4 copies of Guzma gives a really good chance of getting those Zapdos back into the active.
It's good for bringing out your opponent's low HP Pokemon to finish them off, as well as switching yourself out of the active to get the damage buff. And with 4 Guzma and 2 Lycanroc Bloodthirsty Eyes, you can realistically bring out whichever Pokemon you want from your opponent almost every single turn of the game.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got lots of other switch options as well. We've got 3 copies of the Card Switch, which obviously switches your active. 2 copies of Escape Rope, which you can use to, in the early game, make their turns a little bit more awkward, but also just to get your Pokemon into the active. And we've got 2 copies of Escape Board as well, which we're normally going to be attaching to our Jirachi to get some mobility from them. So with this deck having, 2, 4, 8, 12 switch outs, maybe, if my maths is right, that's quite a lot.
It's a fair amount.
That's a solid effort. Looking at the rest of our items, our main ball search in this deck is going to be Nest Ball. There are only 2 Pokemon in this deck that we really want to search for with Ultra Ball, so Nest Ball is probably better. The only 2 that we're going to search for with Ultra Ball are Lycanroc GX, because it's an evolution, and Tapu Koko GX, because we want to use its ability. So we've only got 2 copies of Ultra Ball here, but in the end it's not that bad, and most of the time Nest Ball is going to get the job done. Also, when you're discarding Pokemon, we've got 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher. Obviously we've got 3 Zapdos. Most of the time, those Zapdos are going to be our main attackers. If they're getting knocked out, we need to bring them back somehow, and Rescue Stretcher is just useful in general anyway. So we've got 2 copies of that, just to round out our access to Pokemon.
Another cute thing with the Rescue Stretcher is it effectively allows you to Volkner for a Gust effect by Stretcher for Lycanroc, or obviously Volkner for Ultra Ball for Lycanroc is also equally good, and kind of giving yourself almost 6 Guzma instead of just the normal 4.
Yeah, which is really, really useful. It can get you the knockout on the exact thing you need, and it means that the weakness of Escape Rope is mitigated a little bit by that access to Lycanroc. Rounding out our items, we got 2 copies of Choice Band, nice 30+ multiplier on our GX opponents, so I'm going to attach that to a Zapdos and do 110. And we've got 4 copies of Electro Power as well. We're running lightning attackers, so we run copies of Electro Power, 30 free damage just for playing an item. It's pretty good. It means Zapdos can get up to some pretty ridiculous numbers. I mean, sometimes you can get to 170, even 200 if you're exceptionally lucky. So it's definitely worth playing.
Pretty good card.
Yeah, pretty good card. Wouldn't be complaining about it. The other thing that we've got to make sure that we're doing is getting our energy, and so 2 copies of Viridian Forest are in this deck. And interestingly, Jordan, we're playing 2 copies of Viridian Forest instead of maybe a 1-1 line with a Thunder Mountain Prism.
Yeah, I know that's what the seniors who did all of this list were actually highly considering. They were wondering, do we play 1 Thunder Mountain or do we play 2 Viridian Forest? And obviously they chose to go with the second Viridian Forest. It seems like a safer play overall when you are trying to get specific basic energies at the right time. And also, you don't really need Thunder Mountain that much in this deck with the lightning attackers we have access to. I'd say overall they're not too reliant on Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, the only one that you're ever really going to use it with is going to be Tapu Koko, because it's the only one that attacks for more than 1 energy. If you've got the 2 Viridian Forest, then you can just search out an energy anyway. And another good thing for it is that it can search out you one of your 3 fighting energies or one of your 7 lightning energies. So you can get whichever energy you need to take a knockout that turn. It's actually quite interesting. It's got a very similar number of energy to Ultra Necrozma. We've got the 3 basics and then the 7. So,
and just like Ultra Necrozma, sometimes it's useful to be able to use Viridian Forest to discard energy to accelerate into the board quicker.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, this is the list. I reckon it looks pretty solid. We might try a game.
I'm excited.
We'll see how we go now. In testing, it worked pretty well. Although I did play a game in testing Jordan against Venusaur, so that didn't go too well.
Yeah, no point in taking that one too seriously.
Yeah, no, that was a bit rough.
I think I lost the heart.
But this one here might be interesting. We've got Fire and Psychic, which looks to me like it might be Blacephalon. If I had to roll a dice, I would say that's probably what it is.
Very likely. They've got the Lost Thunder sleeves to complement that Blacephalon as well.
Oh, beautiful. We start with the Zapdos and have 2 fighting energy in the hand, so that's cool.
Remember how we were saying that Viridian Forest is a pretty decent card?
It is. It's pretty good. Yep. This looks like Blacephalon to me. Well, this is going to be real interesting.
Well, we get a couple mulligan draws at least, so hopefully we find something like a Jirachi or a switch to get out of this slightly.
Improve our position. Oh, 3.
3 mulligans. Oh boy.
Oh, we got another Zapdos. I might put that down just in case. But we've successfully mitigated our Lily, so we can't play that.
Well, yeah, this is one of those very rare scenarios where Volkner seems like a better play than Lily time.
Yeah, I think what I might do is I might just Volkner for a Nest Ball.
Get a Jirachi.
And get a Jirachi in play. I'll grab the Lightning Energy. The question is, do we attach the Lightning to Retreat? I think we might, because then it's in the bin for Tapu Koko later on.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty free discard. I would consider keeping the Escape Board just to put on Jirachi, just because you're holding the Guzma for next turn, but both plays seem fine.
Yeah, and one thing, I'm going to keep these fighting ones secret. I know that the colours probably have come up on the screen, but we don't want to give away too much information. What are we looking at here? A Nest Ball and a Switch. I think next turn we should be good to switch regardless. I might grab the Nest Ball, because we've got the Guzma, so we might get the Nest Ball.
Yeah, I think that seems fine. Even if you don't play it right now, it's probably a better card to have overall than the Switch.
Yeah, and we'll hang on to this hand, I reckon, because we can get ourselves, we can hit for 70 next turn. We can kill a Poipole if we have to.
I mean, either knocking out a Poipole or half hitting up a Cephalon, both plays seem fine. I'd probably lean towards the Poipole route if I had to choose, but I think, is this going to be a Let Loose coming out from the opponent? Not quite yet.
No, maybe not, but on the positive side, if they do let loose, we've at least got the Jirachi in the active, so there's no chance of us not being, like, we're going to keep it there. So there's no chance of us not being able to search out of it.
Yeah, I do think that a turn 1 Let Loose is a pretty common play from Cephalon, especially when their opponent has an 8-card hand like we do, although it's not a particularly useful 8-card hand. It is still an 8-card hand.
It is an 8-card hand, and that's, I think, the most important thing. But yeah, no, we'll see how this goes. He seems to have got a reasonably good start here. Got a Blacephalon with an energy on it, which is fine. And this will be the Ultra Ball for the Let Loose.
Yeah, that seems like a great start. Double Fire Energy?
Yeah, he's done quite well. He's got 3 in the bin. So hopefully we can get ourselves into a good position here. We've got ourselves a Guzma, but we don't have an energy.
This is why we get rewarded for retreating into the Jirachi last turn. This would have been a little worse if we hadn't done that.
Oh, it would have been horrific.
A little worse.
Absolutely horrific. Let's have a Stellar Wish. And I reckon I might grab this Viridian Forest. I reckon that's quite important.
You got rewarded for holding that as well. What do you know? Obviously, Viridian Forest is a pretty good stadium for Blacephalon. It's not the best stadium for Blacephalon, but it's still a pretty good one for them. So I don't think they'll be too upset to see that go down.
Yeah, sure. Now, I don't know what I should get rid of. I'm probably going to get rid of the Fighting Energy.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Probably get rid of that. We'll give them the information. And I'll put the Rockruff down as well. Give ourselves a nice Nice hand. We're going to kill a Poi Ball over here.
Was there any reason to waste a Guzma there?
Oh, I had the... Oh my goodness, I'm an idiot. Oh, I just wasn't paying attention. Just wasn't paying attention.
It doesn't really matter. Either way, you get a prize start this turn.
It's fine.
Seems like a good turn.
I'm a silly person. In my head, I was like, we need to retreat this Jirachi. Guzma was the option last turn. And I just did it again.
Well, to be fair, before we got Marshadow, the skateboard wasn't on the Jirachi, so I guess you
I was just on autopilot for a turn. I'm sorry. Specifically to Calvin, who I'm letting down by misplaying his deck. But it's okay, we got 4 of them. It's fine.
What I really love about this matchup is that the Cephalon requires 3 fire energy to knock out 1 Zapdos if it doesn't have beast energy.
Yeah, it does.
So it means that they often are better off going for some unique cards where they might try and use the first attack to damage you, or they'll, as we've just seen just there, use burst to try and get some more energy into play. Did they actually hit the fire energy? I wasn't watching.
No, they didn't. They got the Lily.
Oh well.
So, hey, what's the worst that can happen?
Alright. This is a little bit of an awkward hand. It'd be good if we were holding a Guzma right, Mitch.
I don't want to hear it from you, Jordan. Alright, I don't want to hear it.
I mean, hey, you can probably just still a wish into a Guzma. That seems fine.
It'll be fine. Doesn't even need to be a Guzma, it can just be a switch. Oh, Lily looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll get that. Means I can attach an energy to this Zapdos. Now, I might even Electro Power. How much? 80? Yeah, we'll give ourselves a 2-hit knockout on this Blacephalon.
I wonder, do you want to get rid of the Wobbuffet before you Lily to increase your odds of finding Switch? I don't think it's worth benching it.
No, I don't think it's going to come up at all this game, so...
Yeah, I mean, Blacephalon is sometimes playing Ditto Muck, but... No,
no, it's not the end of the world. We've also got the Buzzwole for next turn.
Yeah, this turn looks a bit ugly, but next turn hopefully it's a bit better. Without access to Beast Energy, though, in this deck, it's not possible for Buzzwole to get the one-hit KO where it would be usually with a Beast Energy.
Yeah, and also because I've asked up with that Guzma, it means that we're not going to be able to do anything this turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Nest Ball for a Jirachi onto the bench, so that when this Jirachi in the active gets killed, we can at least do something.
Yeah, that seems fair.
I feel like maybe even putting the Buzzwole down, just so he's I don't know. I'm so torn. Yeah, I wish I hadn't applied that Guzma now. I'm feeling so bad.
Yeah, it was probably not the best play.
Yeah.
I think it could have made a difference.
It could have. That's alright. We'll just pass. What's the worst that could happen?
I mean, against this deck, I feel like the Sledgehammer turn isn't that much better than just using Thunderous Assault anyway. Like, you get to do like an extra 40 damage, but that's still realistically not changing the fact that you're 2-hitting a Blacephalon.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be too worried about having to get the Sledgehammer off next turn. It is nice, but not strictly necessary.
No, and there's always a chance that he just might not hit the knockout on this Jirachi.
Well, there's a Viridian Forest in place, so I'd be very surprised if they wouldn't attach it.
Yeah, no, I know, but you know, he might miss it. He didn't, but he
might.
might.
Part about Jirachi, completely opposite to Zapdos, is they actually only need 1 energy to knock it out.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's a pretty valuable trade.
It's bad.
For energy versus prizes.
This has been horrific. What a horrific time. But that's okay. And now we're behind. Oh well.
That's alright. I think that this is a matchup where it's pretty foreseeable to catch up without too much difficulty.
We could potentially catch up. How much am I doing if I use Choice Band Electro Power twice?
I mean, realistically, you could almost use, what's it called, the Tapu Koko GX with a Choice Band to take a knockout with a GX attack. However, that requires quite a few cards, and I wouldn't want to have a GX active on the V-String turn, so maybe Scientist save for future turn.
Probably
not. Is it
not.
a matter of Gooseberry killing a Poipole? Is that probably the best play?
I think so. Just give him the fewest outs.
And
I'll attach...
you could even do it with the Buzzwole if you wanted to. Because that's...
Yeah, I guess that's true. Because
the
other option is...
knock it out with a Megando, though.
The other option as well is to attach the fighting to the Rockruff to maybe get a Rogue off next turn.
I like that quite a lot more, now that you mention that.
So, we'll do this. and we'll save the rest of our stuff for later.
And if we're able to continuously force them to discard 3 energy each time to take a prize, taking out these Poipoles is really going to hurt them in the late game when they're struggling to chain knockouts. They might have to start finding ways to chain Guzmas, or even just as I was saying before, using Bursting Burn to set up a 2-hit KO, which is very inefficient.
For sure.
I say all that, there's a Beast Ring, so I don't think they're going to have too many issues anytime soon.
They're not going to be too stressed, and they're attaching it to the bench, so they've probably got an access. Yeah, there's the knockout on the active, so...
And the Beast Energy means it's quite an efficient knockout as well.
Yeah.
But thanks to the fact we're holding the Choice Band, getting a Rogue off on this following turn is pretty feasible. So is Tapu Koko GX if they keep all of their energy in play. So there's a lot of options for getting the knockout on this following turn.
There are. It
depends on how nice this Jirachi is.
Exactly. If the Jirachi gives us a nice supporter, I'll feel a lot better.
Honestly, looking at your hand with Choice Band, Double Electric Power, it's not even that unlikely to see a Zapdos take a big knockout.
Well, and that's another thing, is it could just happen that way. We might just be able to get a switch into a Double Electro Power Choice Band or Triple Electro Power Choice Band playing.
Yeah, it is a little awkward that the Blacephalon will survive with 10 HP off of Double Electro Power. And oh my gosh, they have 4 Blacephalons in play. I don't think I've ever seen a Blacephalon player do that.
Well, here's the thing, right? They got 6 cards left.
Yeah, that's not many.
No. So we might potentially just get away with something if they're silly. Because maybe they don't realise how many cards they've got left.
Now all of a sudden I was thinking taking a knockout on this active Blacephalon with a GX attack is a really strong play, but I almost wonder if it's worth just not putting any GXs down and forcing them to take 1 more knockouts.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the way to go.
I mean, hey, maybe we luck out and get the 3rd Electric Power and we get the best of both.
Maybe we do. We got literally the best card that we could have got, a Cynthia, and the other Electro Power was in there.
Yeah, it does suck that 1 is in the discard already, so it makes it slightly harder.
It does, but we've got most of it. We just need to switch in an Electro Power.
Also, how many energy do they have in play still? Still
they
quite
have
a few.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they have 5 in the bin. So there's plenty going on. But we're gonna...
Even taking out Naganadel is a pretty good play, but it's a lot harder to do, I would say.
Let's go for the Stellar Wish. Whoa, we've got the escape rope.
Actually, what you could do is you could double Electric Power and take the Naganadel, and that really limits the amount of energy they have left. Like if you took Guzma.
We could.
Because they'll have 7 energy in discard after taking out that Naganadel.
And they have no access to it either.
So yeah, I feel like taking off as many energy off their board as you can this turn might actually be the strongest move.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's do that. Plus, we've got the Cynthia in hand for next turn, which means we might be able to get ourselves a Rogue off, especially if he tries to keep this Blacephalon powered.
Yeah, which I think he will due to the Beast Energy, which is the only annoying part about this play is they get to keep the Beast Energy. Well, this seems fine. I really feel like they've put themselves in a pretty awkward board position where we can kind of just take advantage of that and run them out of resources.
I think so too, because well, they've got 3 Poipoles in the bin, and it's not looking amazing. And even if they do put 1 down, they've still only got now 5 energy in play. They're gonna Guzma.
Also, they're going to take out the Rockruff, but that's not too bad.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Once again, we can just drop Tapu Koko GX to take a knockout at any time if we get a good enough hand.
That is true.
Depends how many energy they have on board. Realistically, they need at least 3, and they have 4.
They have 4, so...
This is a pretty ideal turn to take the knockout, because if you eliminate these 2 energy, there's no... Oh, I guess they could go Energy Choice Band and take out the Tapu Koko, though, so...
They could, but I think it's our only chance to win. Let's have a look. So, it's all there. All the pieces are there. Let's try it.
I wonder if Choice Band is even in their list, because I don't think I've seen any from them so far, and it's not always a standard.
It's not, and we've got to try, don't we?
Yeah, let's see what happens.
We've got to try, so I'm just going to Cynthia and we'll do all the rest of it afterwards.
So you need double Tapu Koko realistically.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
There is neither of them.
Yikes. Oh my goodness. Well, this is
I guess just take Switch and half it.
Yeah, I think we might have to. I guess we've got like Guzma, Zapdos next turn as well, so...
A little unfortunate, but it happens.
It's okay, we'll put this guy down for next turn so he knows. He knows what's coming. How many more energy could he possibly have? There's 7 in there. There's 4 in there. So
The energy on his board might be all of them. I think that was the last energy you just attached.
This could be it. And he needs to discard. He needs to discard 2.
So I feel like as long as we target where the energy stays on the board, we can kind of just destroy them because they've already used the GX attack.
Yeah.
At the same time, they do just need to use to kill Jirachi with 2 energy on the board. So we'll have to see where they decide to start the energy from.
They've used 2 Guzma, so... 1 on
So I think their game plan is I'm going to use the bench Cephalon to KO the Jirachi for game. I think that's what they're trying to do.
Okay, well here's the thing, Jordan. We could make a big old gamble here. We've got 6 energy in the Lost Zone. We've got 7 energy in the bin. 13, 14, 15. Another one.
That's either all of them or 1 left. I've never seen a Cephalon with more than 2 more than what's currently on the board.
How can we go about winning this game?
Well, here's the thing. If they have a Guzma, then they win regardless with the current board.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to come down to... I mean, if you could knock out the benched Cephalon, then that would pretty much be game. But I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
No. Because I'd still need the double Coco. So I think what we do is we just play the switch. We kill the active.
Billy.
So yeah, play the switch, kill the active. I hope that Guzma doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet. The funny thing is if the Jirachi stayed active, then they would still just be able to use them for the game because the Beast Energy would stay in play.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they've got a Poi Pole down as well, and they probably still have access to another Ganadel.
Yeah, I didn't notice the Poi Pole.
So, this is going to be tough, but we're going to play it out as if it's going to happen, so...
But you know what would have been nice, Mitch? Maybe if we just didn't play Guzma on turn 1?
Like, if we had a turn where we could have attacked instead of not attacking, that probably would have been pretty good, but...
Yeah.
You know, we don't always get what we want, Jordan. It's not always up to you. And there's the win, which is a shame.
That's alright, we've learned a very valuable lesson.
Yeah.
Don't waste food, you don't need it.
Yeah,
and
don't...
things should work out fine.
Don't allow Mitch to play the game. It's a mistake. But that's okay. Oh,
we got pretty close regardless.
Yeah, we did pretty well. And there were a couple of turns there where we very easily could have come back into it if we'd been able to get the pieces that we needed. So it goes to show just how good the deck can be when it's in capable hands, unlike mine. Oh dear, but that's okay. It's all fine. Yeah, I reckon we might just leave it at that. We've gone for about half an hour. I don't think we have quite enough time for another game. We might just leave it there, but feel free to jump onto the ladder and have a crack with this deck. It's if anything, it is fun because it's got enough interesting stuff going on with Zapdos and Jirachi to keep you entertained. And then when you're getting bored of playing the game, you can just Lycanroc for prizes, which is good. We didn't really get to show it off today, but it definitely can happen.
We got to show the potential. There were definitely turns where it could have been that.
Yeah,
we were just drawing a little suboptimal.
We were, and the pilot was crap, so... But hey, that's alright. I never get a laugh from you, Jordan, when I say that I'm bad at Pokemon.
It's just normal to me now.
I either take it as a sign of massive respect, or the fact that you're just dead inside and sick of playing cards with me.
Must be a combination of both.
It must be. Oh, so anyway, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for everyone for coming along. Again, if you like what you see, then please give us a like, a comment, a subscription, whatever it is that you feel comfortable doing. We really appreciate it. We've had quite a lot of new people coming on board over the last couple of days with our Perth regional stuff. So yeah, thanks very much guys for watching. Thanks Jordan for coming along.
No problem.
and we will see you all next time for more from the Sableyes. See ya!